We pulled up the rule book. We kind of clumsily did it on the fly because it wasn't something that we had pre-planned. We just kind of went there.
Right.
This relates to a key play in the fourth quarter. 28-17 was the score at the time. 10 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. The Cowboys were facing 4th and goal at the Philadelphia 1. And again, we talked about it Monday. Chris tweeted the clip with an explanation. I raised the point as well in a retweet, and it became kind of a thing. So we want to talk this through. And we're not, I mean, part of the goal here is to explain what the rule is.
Right.
What the rule is and understand what it is, and then offer our opinion on what maybe it should be. So this is one of those areas where the rule book says one thing, and then an interpretation is applied by the league to what the rules are. And that always makes me nervous.
Right.
If there's an interpretation that needs to be applied, the interpretation should be codified in the rule book. It shouldn't be something that someone at 345 Park Avenue says, this is how this works. The owner should have a chance to vote on every rule that is relevant to the game. And if there's a loophole, if there's an inconsistency that requires interpretation, it should be codified by the owners.
Yes.
That's all we're getting at.
That's
here.
all we're getting
so,
at. Thank you for explaining that. No,
right.
thank you. And yes, I just want to see the league be better and fix itself. And it's like food for thought here. Like you're saying, there's a flaw, a loophole here. I was rooting for the Eagles, jerk Eagle fans out there that are all over me on social media.
We both picked the Eagles
they
to
were
win and
my
cover.
best bet.
We wanted them to win.
I mean, the Eagles are the best team in football. No one in Philadelphia can get over that I didn't put Jalen Hurts in the top 3 quarterback conversation, and therefore they think I'm a hater on the Eagles. He's awesome. I say it all the time. Do I think he's top 3? No, I don't. It's not going to change right now. Sorry. But yes, this deserves to be talked about. There's a flaw here in how this rule is written in the language around it.
And here's the fundamental problem. It's what you have to do to successfully catch a ball versus where the ball is spotted after the catch is made. And the loophole, the flaw is very simple. They put the ball where your knee or some other body part was down, if you're down by contact, even if you haven't completed the catch. And the catch isn't completed if you're going to the ground until you land on the ground and retain possession.
Right.
The catch isn't completed. So the play shouldn't be over. And
that's all
the
we're
spot
saying.
Shouldn't be finalized until you've completed the catch based on the current rule book. Based on the rule book, that should be the rule. The way the NFL interprets it, not in the rule book, as voted on by the owners, with at least 24 of them saying that's good for me. The way it's interpreted is you're down when that knee or other body part hits. That's where the ball is. And then it's just like we stand back and make sure that when you landed, you caught the ball, but where the ball is, where you land, doesn't matter. Again, that's not in the rule book. But that's how they apply it. Let's show the play from 10 minutes and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter of the Eagles-Cowboys game. 4th and goal. There's the catch. The knee's down. When the knee's down, freeze it. Go back a little bit. Let's freeze it when the knee's down. The ball is not across the plane. See? Okay, that's it. Right there, you're not in. But the catch isn't completed until Luke Schoonmaker hits the ground.
Right.
He's got to survive the ground. We hear that all the time. So let's play it forward. By the time he has landed and held on to the ball, completing the catch, he's in. So my point, and this is the point, if it's not a catch when the knee's down and the ball's not in the end zone, if it's not a catch, how is the play over?
Exactly.
How is that where the ball gets marked?
Right.
It makes no sense.
No.
It should be the play isn't over until the catch is completed, and that's where the ball is.
Right.
And look, how often is this going to be an issue? Not very often. But this is a point where there's this bizarre, warped interpretation that the league has decided through its officiating department to apply that's not in the rule book. If anything, the rule book suggests the other side of it. if you are going to the ground before you fully completed the act of making the catch, and that part C of the rule book, that whole opportunity to make a football move, and that was the action zone for all the confusion for all those years, and they finally cleared it up simply by adding, if you get a second foot down, you've had enough time to hold on to the ball. But if you're going to the ground before you have a chance to do that football move, you've got to keep possession. So if the play isn't over until when you're going to the ground, you keep possession, how in the F-K is the play over when your knee was down, but you haven't caught the ball yet?
That's exactly right. That's it. That's all. We're trying to just make this definitive, right? And I got friends in the NFL who have seen and saw these clips and saw what we said, and they're all like, yes, this is an issue. This is wrong, right? Just as like, some of the idiots on Twitter yesterday with it. Well, it's the same thing if well, they got to deal with it. Sorry, it's my turn now. So
I know.
Toe tap. It's the same as when they toe tap and they go out of bounds. Yeah, but if they're going to the ground, they still have to survive the ground, even in that instance. And so it's not a completed catch yet at that moment. But
exactly.
Yes, so that's all we're trying to do here is trying to make it more concise and better. The rules the way they are right now, Philadelphia fans, I totally understand that that's not a touchdown. All I'm saying is, with the rules and how they're written, it does not make sense. That makes no sense, right? So just put it this way. Where his knee is, okay, and we freeze it and he catches the ball, okay, the ball's spotted there. But if he continues to fall on the ground and loses control of the ball, they're going to go incomplete. So at freeze frame, he caught it short of the goal line. Oh, okay. Then it hits the ground. It's incomplete. That makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. And that's all we're trying to talk about. So this is not even a completed catch at this point by any part of the rule book. By any part. Right now, this is not a completed catch. It's not. So then how, therefore, can we spot the ball at a spot where the catch is not even completed? And that's where it makes no sense, and that's where the Rules Committee and everybody else has to get on this to remedy this situation.
Well, if I'm an owner of the team, I'm getting on the phone with Roger Goodell or Troy Vincent or Walt Anderson and saying, why is it that you guys have grafted onto this rule an interpretation that isn't in the rule book? And here's where it comes from, just so we're clear. The rule regarding a completed or an incomplete or an intercepted pass. There are 3 steps, as we well know, dating back to Calvin Johnson in 2010.
Right.
First, you've got to catch the ball. You've got to secure the ball in your hands or your arms before the ball touches the ground. Second, you've got to touch the ground inbounds with both feet or any other part of his body other than his hands. Those are the first 2. Those are the easy ones. The tough one was C. After you do A and B, that is, catch the ball and touch with a foot or some other body part in bounds, you have to perform an act common to the game, such as tucking the ball away, extending it forward, taking another step, that second step that they added in that cleared up a lot of the confusion, turn up field, ward off an opponent, the football move.
Right.
That's when the catch is completed, unless if you do A and B before you get to C, if you're contacting the ground and you lose control, it's not a catch. It's incomplete. And if you regain control out of bounds, right, it's not a catch.
Right.
If you do toe tap, you fall down, and you bobble the ball, it's not a catch. Play's not over, catch isn't complete until you're down. Toe tap isn't good enough. Inbounds, Chris, let's throw this little twist on.
Yeah.
Because this contemplates regaining control of the ball. If you're inbounds, you can bobble it and regain control. So if the player hits, let's play that again.
Yeah.
Let's say hypothetically, he comes down and the ball pops up in the air without touching the ground and he catches it in the end zone. What is it then? Under the NFL's interpretation, it's still Eagles ball at the 1-inch line, right?
Right.
Because the catch isn't completed, but the play's over. This makes no sense, people. That's why we're poking at this. That's why we're raising this. It's counterintuitive.
Right.
They're putting an interpretation into the rules that the language of the rules doesn't support, because I guarantee you that the league's position would be, if he loses possession and regains control and he's in the end zone at that point, it's still not a touchdown. It's still not a touchdown because he was down when his knee hit and he had the ball, and everything after that, it's not part of the play. It's just making sure that the catch that we're going to rule short of the goal line was complete. And it just makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense.
It's overly complicating the situation.
It's not common sense. Exactly right. That's where it is. This is
if
one,
the catch,
right.
if the catch isn't complete until he hits the ground and survives the ground, and they say that all the time, survives the ground. If it's not over until then, the play isn't over until then, and the ball is spotted where the player is when the catch is completed.
Yeah.
When it's in bounds.
Right.
Out of bounds is different.
Right.
In bounds, it should be where the ball is when the catch is finally completed.
That's right. That's right. And that's what we're trying to get at here. And here, let's take it one step further, because the jump off of this conversation is really something that happened in week 8 with the Colts Saints football game. Similar type of thing, and I think we have the clip here now to where we can dive into this. Now, this play right here, we're going to see a deep pass, Taysom Hill to Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed kind of catches it in the air, okay? But now the Colts defender takes the ball out of his hands. And just like the Cowboys game and everything we saw there, and we don't have a lot of slow motion replays of this one, the catch is not completed because he did not survive the ground yet, and the ball was already taken out of his hands. But they gave him the ball. They gave the Saints the completion based on the same thing we just saw, with Schumacher and the Cowboys, that, when his knee hit the ground, the ball was in his hands. But as he continued to go down to the ground, the ball was ripped out of his hands. He didn't survive the ground. The guy from the Colts took the ball before the catch was actually completed by definition in the rule book. So how could that not be an interception? So these are just, again, food for thought, things that don't make sense, doesn't line up with the language, and that's where Florio and I are here to help fix these problems.
But we're crazy, we're wrong, we're ridiculous, we're biased, we hate the Eagles, we love the Cowboys. I need to say one thing. I know we didn't take a break. The NFL's position on this, and this was the explanation that was provided to me when I asked about it earlier this week. The reason that Schoonamaker was down short of the end zone, because by rule he was down by contact. The same would apply at the sideline if a receiver is in the act of completing the catch, has control, and knee hits in bounds, but he falls out of bounds with the ball. He is down by contact in bounds where the knee hits, and the ball is dead at that point. That's fine at the sideline. In bounds, if the catch isn't finished until the player's down, the ball should be where it is when the catch is finally
even
official.
The sideline,
really
if all that
difficult.
happens, and see,
we got a break.
Even if all that happens and he lands out of bounds on the sidelines and loses the ball, it's not a catch. So it still proves our point.
Right.
The NFL's skirting their answer a little bit there by not quite explaining that.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.